Hello, welcome back to the Trump Files, where we're talking about the dreams I've been having with Donald Trump in them. And this one came to me on November 12th, 2020. This was after the elections were over. So I will just start reading. I was helping prepare for a special event, a political rally, or an inauguration, or maybe even a coronation of a king. Many of us were working on regal garments for this royal person. The robe was made with fabric in shades of purple, red, and blue with white fur trim. I felt extremely privileged to be a part of this task or this work. The garment hung on a mannequin shaped like a very tall male, a very well-built man. I was hearing the words "bigger than life" as I was writing this down. There were important people bustling around as I tried sweeping dirt and debris up off of the floor with a dustpan and brush. Then Donald Trump came in, and I stopped and said hello to him. He was teasing and joking around about nothing in particular when I asked him when he was coming through. I knew someone greater than Trump was in the wings ready to appear. And I asked Donald Trump if he could let me know so I could finish sweeping this main hallway. He knew I wouldn't allow him to usher in the king across dirty floors. This grand entrance of the king felt imminent. The scene shifted and I was walking around in a room with maybe 12 to 24 people, all of whom I was familiar with. I'm assuming we were waiting to see the king. I saw Hillary Clinton laying on the floor. People had to step over her to get from one side of the room to the other. She was lying there with her arms tight to her sides, as though bound. She was as rigid as a post or a log or a tree or something. She had no power to move or get up. She was not a threat to anyone. This was a clear picture of her being humiliated and punished. And for the most part, she was just ignored, like she wasn't even there. So that was the end of that dream. And I had to look up the name Hillary because I couldn't remember what it meant. And the one source that I looked at just said that the name Hillary meant cheerful, merry, happy, or hilarious. And I thought that the tables had definitely been turned on her in this dream. A couple things that stood out to me was the fact that I know that there's been a lot of discussion on Patriot channels and some reporting outlets that Hillary has been dealt with, and I know that during the campaign that Donald Trump there would be people yelling at the rallies, lock her up, and some people thought, well, that's really harsh, and others were like, yeah, when is that going to happen? Because they felt like she was not a good thing for our country. Let me put it that way. So there's actually even a news source called Real Raw News that put out a report in April 26th of 2021 that said that Hillary had been hanged as a traitor, that she was no longer a problem for anybody. And that, of course, was refuted. I know there was an article that I pulled up real quick here on USA Today that was a June 17th, 2021. It came out a couple months after that Real Raw News report that was refuting it. And then, of course, there's video footage of Hillary in the news to try to refute that. So very interesting information, but I think the evidence of whichever one of those reports is true. I'm not saying everything on Real Raw News is true. Some of it could be a military psyop to confuse people, and some of it could be true, who knows? But there is a lot of debate about that. But I just thought this dream was very interesting, that Hillary was laid out on the floor and she was being stepped over. So that might bring joy to some of you, and that might bring rage. So I just sharing my dream and what I feel like the Father showed me. I think it's also interesting that there was an inauguration, and there are some who believe that there was an inauguration after that for Trump somewhere, quiet, private, I don't know. But there was a celebration that was being prepared for. And if I'm not saying Trump's a king, and I'm not saying he's the king, I believe that the King of Kings, Yeshua HaMashiach, Jesus the Messiah, our Savior as believers, is the greater power in all of this. And I do believe that Trump was selected by the Father for such a time as this, but he's certainly no king higher than the King of Kings. So I'm excited about this, and I'm thrilled to know that through Trump, things are happening, and God will be glorified, and his name will be exalted in the end. We will be looking to him and praising his name. So again, your comments are appreciated, and if you have any other thoughts about what some of this means, I'm open to hearing it. Love to hear from you. God bless.